They laughed at him, called him toy soldier as he stood trembling in his oversized uniform. The young cadet's boots were too big, his salute a little shaky, and everyone thought he didn't belong. But just as the laughter grew louder, the ground began to rumble. A shadow swept over the parade ground, a massive black military helicopter descended from the clouds, blowing dust into the mocking crowd's faces. When the doors opened, a four-star general stepped out, and what he said next silenced every whisper. Fire! Before we begin this emotional story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Goodness Corner, where real courage and kindness always shine. Fire! The sun blazed over Fort Ridge Military Academy, baking the cracked concrete of the parade ground until it shimmered like a mirage. Rows of young cadets stood in perfect formation, their uniforms crisp, their chins raised with pride. But at the very end of the line stood Cadet Ryan Miller, a 17-year-old boy whose uniform didn't quite fit and whose confidence seemed even smaller than his frame. His jacket hung loose on his shoulders, and his boots were at least a size too large. Every few seconds, he shifted uncomfortably, trying to keep his balance. To anyone watching, he looked more like a scared high schooler playing dress-up than a future soldier. The whispers had started the moment he arrived 3 weeks ago. Look at him, he's barely taller than his rifle. He probably joined because his mommy told him to. Bet he'll quit before the month's over. Ryan had heard it all. He had grown used to the stares, the snickers, and the sideways glances from cadets who had fathers in the military, who spoke with pride about family legacies and medals. Ryan had none of that. No family in the service. No proud stories of courage or sacrifice. Just a dream, and a promise he'd made to his late mother before she passed. You always keep your head high, my boy, she told him from her hospital bed, her frail hand gripping his tightly. Don't ever let the world tell you that you're small. You have greatness inside you, just believe. That memory alone kept him standing every morning, even when his arms ached from push-ups or his shoes rubbed blisters into his feet. But today was worse than usual. It was the Academy's inspection day, the one day when every cadet had to look flawless. And Ryan, with his second-hand uniform and faded cap, was anything but flawless. Captain Harris, a stern man with a voice that could make glass tremble, walked down the line, inspecting each cadet. His eyes were sharp, scanning every detail. When he stopped in front of Ryan, the air seemed to freeze. "What's your name, cadet?" Harris barked. "Ryan Miller, sir." "Miller, huh? You polished those boots this morning?" "Yes, sir." "Looks like you polished them with mud." Laughter rippled through the ranks. Ryan clenched his jaw. He could feel the heat rising in his face, but he kept his eyes forward. The captain leaned closer. "You think this is a joke, cadet?" "No, sir." "Then start acting like you belong here. Because right now, you look like someone who wandered in by mistake." The laughter grew louder, cruel, sharp, and echoing. A few cadets behind him muttered, "Poor kid," while others smirked. Ryan bit the inside of his cheek so hard it almost bled. He wanted to scream, "I do belong here." But his voice refused to come out. When the captain moved on, Ryan's eyes darted to the ground. The tears threatened, but he swallowed them back. Soldiers don't cry, he reminded himself. Not in front of others. Later that day, during lunch in the mess hall, the mockery continued. A group of senior cadets, led by Jason Burke, the Academy's top trainee, decided to have some fun. "Well, if it isn't Private Baby Boots," Jason sneered, slamming his tray next to Ryan's. "How's life in the kiddie corps?" Ryan stayed silent. He just focused on his mashed potatoes, pretending not to hear. Jason wasn't done. "Tell me, Miller, you got in because of pity, right? Maybe the Academy needed a mascot?" The table erupted in laughter. A fork clattered from Ryan's trembling hand. The noise drew attention from nearby tables, and soon, half the hall was watching. Jason leaned in closer, whispering loud enough for everyone to hear. "Face it, man. You don't belong here. You'll never make it to graduation. Some people are born to lead, others are born to fail." Ryan stood up so fast that his chair toppled backward. His chest heaved, his fists clenched. For a second, everyone thought he'd swing, but he didn't. Instead, he quietly picked up his tray and walked out, every step echoing louder than the laughter behind him. Outside, the cold wind hit his face. He walked until the voices faded. He found himself behind the old barracks, near the flagpole where he often came to think. The flag fluttered weakly above him. Ryan looked up at it, eyes glistening. "Maybe they're right," he whispered. "Maybe I don't belong here." But then another voice echoed in his mind, his mother's again. "Greatness isn't about where you come from, Ryan. It's about what you choose to do." He stood there for a long moment, breathing deeply, until the doubt began to fade. He tightened his grip on the edge of his uniform jacket. "No," he said aloud, voice trembling but determined. "I'm not giving up. Not ever." That night, long after lights out, Ryan stayed awake polishing his boots again. He went through drills alone in the moonlight, repeating every move until his muscles burned. He ran laps in silence, his breath misting in the cold air. He didn't care if anyone saw him. He just wanted to prove, even if only to himself, that he could do this. Days turned into weeks. The bullying didn't stop, but something inside Ryan started to change. Every insult became fuel. Every laugh pushed him to work harder. He studied late, trained early, and practiced every salute, every stance, every command until it became second nature. One afternoon, while the other cadets rested after drills, Captain Harris noticed Ryan still running laps around the field. Sweat poured down his face, his legs barely holding up, but he didn't stop. The captain watched in silence for a while, then turned to his assistant and murmured, "That kid's got fire." But even fire needs a test to prove its strength. That test came one fateful morning, the day everything changed. The academy was hosting the Regional Cadet Challenge, a competition of endurance, leadership, and precision drills. Dozens of officers and high-ranking guests were attending. It was the perfect opportunity for cadets to shine, or fail miserably. Ryan was assigned as squad leader for his unit, a decision that shocked everyone. Jason, who had expected to lead, was furious. "This is a joke," he muttered to his teammates. "We're going to lose because of him." When the competition began, the field was alive with energy. Cadets shouted commands, rifles clicked in rhythm, boots pounded the ground. Ryan's team stumbled at first, their timing off, their morale shaky. Jason deliberately disobeyed a few commands, smirking when Ryan tried to correct him. But Ryan refused to lose focus. His voice rose above the chaos. "Hold the line. Eyes forward. We're a unit, move as one." Something in his tone, calm, firm, unshakable, made the others straighten up. Even Jason hesitated. Slowly, the group began to synchronize. Their formation tightened, their steps matched perfectly. Ryan's leadership came alive. By the end of the drill, the once mocking crowd had gone silent. As the event concluded, the commanding officer stepped forward to announce the winners. In third place, Delta Squad. Second place, Bravo Squad. He paused dramatically. And first place, with perfect coordination and discipline, Alpha Squad, led by Cadet Ryan Miller. Cheers erupted. Ryan froze, stunned. For the first time, the laughter wasn't aimed at him. It was for him. Jason's face twisted in disbelief. The same cadets who once mocked Ryan were now clapping him on the back, smiling, shouting, "You did it, man." Ryan's heart swelled. Maybe, just maybe, things were changing. But as he stood there, trophy in hand, a deep hum began to fill the air. It started as a distant vibration, then grew louder, the unmistakable sound of heavy rotor blades slicing the sky. Everyone turned their heads. The clouds parted, and descending through the sunlight was a massive black military helicopter, sleek and powerful, its insignia gleaming like steel fire. Dust whipped across the parade ground. Hats flew. Cadets shielded their eyes as the helicopter touched down right in the middle of the field. The doors slid open, and out stepped a man in full uniform, medals glinting across his chest. A 4-star general. The entire academy snapped to attention. Captain Harris's voice thundered, "Salute." The general's gaze swept across the rows of cadets, and then locked directly on Ryan Miller. He started walking, straight toward him. Every whisper vanished. Every mocking voice went silent. Ryan's heart pounded in his chest. Why was the general looking at him? And then, the general stopped just inches away, his expression unreadable. He removed his gloves, looked Ryan up and down, and said in a low, commanding voice,